I'm glad to have another live stream. It's certainly very slow right now. I forgot to do the poll about glasses. I'm sorry. The reason I had to delay this a little bit is that I'm preparing videos for tomorrow. The next live stream will be on Friday. Let me give you a little bit of a heads up about how the schedule is going to work. I have 2 major videos dropping tomorrow, one in the morning, and then the Cocaine Bear embargo lifts at 4 p.m. I think it's 4 p.m. Yeah, 4 p.m. I think. So it'll be going up then. I'm seeing Creed tomorrow, so my Creed 3 review, even though the Creed embargo lifts tomorrow as well, my Creed 3 review will be on Friday, and we'll have a live stream there as well. March, things should be picking up. Things should be picking up hopefully in March. I really hope that's the case. It's been very slow in January and February. Quantumania, I think, was a nice little reprieve, but it didn't quite hit the way you would expect a Marvel movie to for various reasons. Dancing Dog 60, that was so kind of you to gift 5 memberships. Dancing Dog 60 is one of the most generous members in the BTT community. I saw a couple of you asking how you can get a gifted membership. Well, let me reiterate that to you in case you don't know. You can see that on the YouTube video, you can see that there's a join button. And when you click on join, you can turn on accepting gifts, I believe. So you have to make sure you click that button that says you're willing to accept gifts. And then actually YouTube decides who gets gifted memberships. The more engaged you are with Beyond the Trailer, the more videos you watch, the more comments you leave, the more likely it is that YouTube will give you a gifted membership. So that's the way it works, for those of you who are wondering. Hey Duncan, hey Cormac, hey Christian, all new members. And of course, the longer you're a member, you can get different badges. So that's right. Some of you have been members for so long. We got to have more than 2 years. We got to have something else, I think, to go even beyond diamond status. What's above a diamond? I have to think about it. That's maybe like a gold star or something. I don't know. Diamond's pretty sweet. I got to think about it. And of course, don't forget that on Friday evening is the Scream 4 Movie Club watch along for Movie Club members only. And you can join for just a month if you would like to participate in that. And if you can't join live, the video stays up for Movie Club members afterwards. So you can still watch with us, even if you couldn't do it live. All right, everybody, it's a little bit of a slow news day, but I managed to scrape together a video. Please try to keep your comments. Infinity Stones is pretty funny, Zach West. I kind of like that. That's funny. So anyway, please try to keep your comments on topic, or I might not answer them, even if they're a super chat during the stream. However, for the final 10 minutes of the stream, you can ask me anything that you would like. And so that's where you should save those questions for that do not pertain to the subject at hand. All right, let's get started. Hey, Rodney. Welcome back, Ronnie. That's right, Lloyd. Boop for Barney. Juan, I did not see that. I did not see this, what you sent me. Okay. All right, now, gotta stay on topic. Okay, here we go. Boop, boop for Bernie. So Disney's having a rough time, I think one of the worst things that Bob Chapek did to this company was that it really opened it up to intense criticism. Now, I don't know if it could have been avoided because, of course, Disney, I think rightfully, is really working hard to represent its entire audience. However, Bob Chapek had all the grace of a sledgehammer. And I think that Bob Iger perhaps maybe would have handled it with a little bit more finesse. And maybe they wouldn't be in as bad a situation as they are now. I think that the continued problems with the visual effects slander is really bad. I saw it after I put this stream together. But, and also Vulture in particular is just, like a dog with a bone. They're not giving up on this VFX story. And they ran another story apparently today about how Quantumania, they got some people off the record to talk about how Quantumania was undercut in terms of VFX. And I think the interesting thing that was in that was that that's potentially why there were no action sequences in Quantumania, because they didn't have time to finish them. That's pretty damning. That's shocking to me. I mean, I have a hard time believing that could be, but we know that they reshot the ending just a month ago. So I don't know what's going on over there. I think it's a disaster, and I hope that they get this under control because Marvel is a wonderful franchise that we all want to see work really well. Hey, friendly wafers. So I think it's really a bad situation. So they're dealing with that. They're still having problems in Florida. They're having intense problems in Florida. Ron DeSantis was able to install a board to take over the Reedy Creek situation, which is the land that Walt Disney World is on. So that's funny, Sahar. So I think that it's not quite as bad as, Ron DeSantis had promised. I think Ron DeSantis is trying really hard to, still work with Disney. It'll be interesting to see if that comes back to haunt Ron DeSantis, because I think as a conservative candidate, he really meddled with business. And I think that to give him presidential power, I think would be very scary to a lot of the companies that political candidates need to donate to their campaigns. And Disney, by the way, is an equal opportunity donator. They donate to a lot of politicians on both sides of the aisle, and they, of course, donate quite a bit in Florida because they have a vested interest there. They did pause all political donations when this started to blow up in their face, which maybe also wasn't the right move, because that made Florida politicians even more upset. And I think, Ron DeSantis used Disney as a puppet in his, PR campaign to fight, what he feels is horrible. It's just, people being represented in the entertainment that they like. I have serious problems with Ron DeSantis. So anyway, let's see. I'm hoping for moderates from both parties as the presidential candidates. But yeah, so Disney has that problem. And then Bernie Sanders now. I think that once people have smell blood in the water, they start to swarm. And so, whereas before, although Bernie Sanders doesn't shy away from a fight. I love, by the way, somebody made that meme of Bernie Sanders from the inauguration at Disney World. That's why I included it there. I thought it was very funny. But it's a really difficult situation. Steven says, to be fair to Chapek, Iger is the one who filmed Mulan outside of... Steven, I think they didn't know that they were doing that, to be honest with you. I don't think they even knew. Matthew, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. That's really wonderful of you. Thank you, Matthew. That's very generous. And then the Quasar says, Bob Iger never treated Disney employee workers with better benefits and wages. I think that is true. I think that that's a good point. That's a very good point. Now let's talk about salaries, because that's what Bernie Sanders is weighing in on. And by the way, Abigail Disney, one of the only major living relative of Disney who's still a public figure, she has spoken out against how Disney treats its employees. And it is a problem. It is a problem. Right before Bob Iger left, there was that horrible story about Disneyland employees sleeping in the parking lot in their cars because Anaheim is too expensive for them based on the salary that they're given. So they recently had a vote for, I think, like a $1 raise, and Disney cast members voted against it. They voted it down. And so I think, what are they currently at $15 an hour? So I think this would take them to $16. Bernie Sanders insisted on $18 an hour. And he made a good point, speaking of Bob Chapek. He said if they can give Bob Chapek a $20 million golden parachute when they fired him, they can certainly, pay their employees what they're worth. Abby Disney doesn't have any sway at the Disney company, but her name certainly has a lot of sway, and she can do really strong PR against the company. So she can get coverage. So that's what's important. Hey, Sean, welcome back. So Wesley said, but Grace, they get 50% off of merch. That's true. Yeah, Disney employees do get benefits. They get discounts. They get to go into the parks for free. They can bring in friends and relatives for free. They get discounts on lots of things. And also, it was just announced they get discounts on the Disney Star Wars hotel, because that's actually not doing very well. So that's not really so much, I think, to benefit the cast members as it is to try and get more people to go to that experience. That's funny, Haunted Autumn. They probably get pizza parties, too. There's a Subway underneath Walt Disney World, a Subway sandwich shop, which I think is very funny. In the Utilidor, which is where the employees are able to get around the park. But I think that we knew you were being sarcastic, Wesley, but I do think that those are good benefits, but it's still nothing is a good substitute for getting paid what you're owed. Whelm says, does she not have ownership of the company? How does that work? Well, you have to remember that Disney is a publicly owned company. And Walt Disney, I think, unfortunately, because he had daughters, and Walt Disney was very much a product of his time, And he had some unfortunate viewpoints. And, one of them was, you don't train your daughter to take over your company. You don't train your daughters. You have her husband take over the company. And one of his daughters married a football player who didn't know anything about running an entertainment company. And that's one of the reasons that Disney really suffered after Walt Disney's death. Although, to be fair, Roy Disney's son, I think Abigail Disney's his daughter, I'm not sure. But Roy Disney's son doesn't know anything about running a multimedia company either. Just because your last name's Disney doesn't mean you know what you're talking about either. Walt Disney and Roy Disney were a great combination. Walt really knew a lot about creative, and Roy Disney really knew a lot about business. Jason says, people living in their cars isn't unusual in California. Los Angeles streets are lined with campers and cars and vans. Well, Jason, I think that the problem is that we have a real problem with the lack of middle class here in the United States, period. And I think that you're seeing that. I think, these are jobs, theme park employees, McDonald's employees, that for a long time, people equated with teenager jobs or retirement jobs, not jobs that were meant to sustain people as their sole income, to support a family off of. But the point is that people are using these jobs to support a family and to support themselves. And also, if you don't feel that's who should be doing the job, don't hire them. Only hire retirees and teenagers. Although I think Disney World actually hires a number of retirees. But I think you'll find that teenagers these days are usually focused on internships and studying and stuff like that. It's not the same way that it used to be. And so I think it's really a tone-deaf idea to insist that no one's supposed to live off of these jobs. You clearly are supposed to live off them, and people are. Big League Chew says, I know someone who worked in Disney corporate and said the perks don't compensate for their experience. I know people at Disney, though, who are also very happy. So it's a difficult situation. I think working for Disney is good, but I think obviously there's certainly room for significant improvement. Jason says, I agree, but a lot of those people gave full-time work even in the entertainment business is a really tough business, which is why the unionization is important. People are rediscovering unions, right? Unions got a little greedy, and so corporations were able to break unions because unions, I think, got drunk with power. But, that doesn't mean that they were not important. Unions are very important. And in the entertainment business, they're very important because most people in the entertainment industry don't work year-round. You work on gigs that only last for a certain amount of time. So you really rely on residuals when those movies and shows continue to air after they're done to continue to support yourself. But yet in streaming, there are no residuals, which is why you're seeing a lot of problems in the entertainment business, and unions are in the front line of that fight. I think, Starbucks is trying to maybe unionize, although the head of Starbucks recently said he doesn't think unions are right for Starbucks. It's ridiculous. Unions are good. A good, responsible union is important. I think that I would advise Disney employees to unionize. I think it's important. And I don't think there should be one person who's a leader of a union. I think unions should have boards, just like companies do. And that way you would keep a union leader from getting out of control with power and also graft, under the table payments. But unions are really, really, really important when done correctly. So Bernie Sanders said they should pay $18 an hour, and I think that's fair. The only thing is that, well, here's the problem. The federal government would need to raise the minimum wage, but there's different standards of living. It's different how much you depending on where you live, what you need to be able to afford a basic setup. So, but however, where all the Disney theme parks are, it's expensive because, they're tourist destinations, and so they've become very expensive. Edger in the Scream 4 watch along is on Friday, not Scream 6. Bruce Wayne says, unfortunately, our government has done a horrible job protecting workers from the continued exploitation by corporate America. I totally agree. I think some politicians want to go too far in the other direction, but I think there's a happy medium where the government looks out for the people. And I think that if they could kind of have like some kind of formula that comes up with the living wage based on the information the U.S. Census has put together, I think they could get something that makes sense. But yeah, I think that Disney's going to have to get there. I don't know. They had a very hard time hiring employees coming back after the pandemic. So we'll have to see what happens. But Bernie Sanders is the latest politician to speak out and say that it's, bye, Celine. Happy Ash Wednesday. I think it's really important for Disney to do this. And we'll see, if Congress does anything. Congress is so busy showboating and infighting that they're not doing any of the things that they're supposed to. There's a big thing right now about the internet. And I think, extreme responses to, there's a Supreme Court case right now about whether or not it's the algorithm that's to blame, which is ridiculous. It's not the algorithm that's to blame. It's that you shouldn't have that kind of content on the service to begin with. Baz says, did the park cleaners strike make a difference? I don't know. I didn't even hear about the park cleaners strike, so I don't think that's necessarily true. Happy birthday to your partner, writer boy. Hey, Benny. But I think that, the Supreme Court justices yesterday were like, I think this is for the Congress to decide, not Supreme Court. And I think that's true. And so I really wish that Congress would get its act together and stop showboating and doing these ridiculous things that are just, to kind of put on a show for the upcoming elections, and, actually get stuff done. It's really horrible. I'm looking for this extremism to get out of government. I hope that it does. I don't see it happening anytime soon, unfortunately, but I wish that it would. It's really hurting this country and the world. All right. Any questions about this? This has gotten very political. That's right, Epic Echo. It's gotten very political. Just do your job, everybody. Any questions about this before we move on to the next story? That's right, IZG. I unicorned it up. Jason said, I'd love a union, but I'm a composer in LA and we have no union. Well, VFX workers don't have a union either, and you can see how that's going for them. Oh, Marvin. Oh, yeah. What's going on in the Disney College program? KT and Biscuits has a good question. Says, are there similar cases of this happening in other parks like Universal? I think the difference is that people don't, Disney's a way of life, which is, I think, partially what's getting them into trouble. I think more people want to work at Disney, and I think it means more to them than working at Universal. Universal is a job. Disney is a way of life. If you work at Disney, it's so much a part of who you are. And so I think that is partially, and then people are like, but if Disney is supposed to be so magical, how are they treating me like garbage? And I think that is, and also it makes for a great story. So Universal seems okay. Although, let's see. Jason says, what did Jason say? So many up-and-comers like me are unprotected and unrepresented. There are so many nameless, faceless people behind the scenes doing all the work and getting no credit and little compensation. Well, that's why unions are important, and I hope that they can unionize for you. Marvin, you can't make promises like that and not deliver. Where are you? Marvin's Disney College program. I don't see the story. Well, we obviously have to take a grain of salt. We don't know Marvin. Universal's doing pretty darn good right now. Universal, like Warner Brothers Discovery and Disney are like imploding, and Universal's just waltzing right past them. Hey, Liam, did Marvin write something? Did I miss it? Nope, didn't see it. Oh, Marvin says, okay, so because of the strike, Disney gave us our discount up to 50% as a way to resist giving us a raise and saying, no, you don't need a raise. Look at all the stuff that you just bought. Well, I mean, unless they go and sell it on eBay, which is apparently a really lucrative endeavor, I don't really see how that's going to help. That reminds me, I don't want to say who it was, but at one point I was at an office and I remember somebody in the office, hey, Liam, someone in the office said, we don't need to pay people more because there's prestige with working at this company. And I really chuckled to myself because I was like, you think that person can go to their landlord and say, do you realize who you have living in your apartment building? Do you know how great it is to be able to say that I live here? I mean, like, you got to pay. I mean, it's a trickle down, people demand money for stuff. So you got to get money for the work that you're doing. Steven says, I think Disney brand is family friendly and wholesome, which gets them into trouble when they are not treating the family. Yeah, that's true. I think that's very true. Freedom Tompkins. Freedom Tompkins. Always so good to see you. Hey, Grace. Yes, I'm so glad. I saw your Twitter note. I'm so glad that you're back. Eric says, personally, I prefer Universal over Disney. I wouldn't go that far. I really love Disney. I like Universal too, but you just can't deny the Disney magic. And Whelm says, have you heard stories of Nintendo execs taking pay cuts to increase all their employees' pay? Well, I think that's very rare. I think that you really need to have Congress go in and put in some kind of limit as to how much of the percentage of a company can go to the top executives. That's really a congressional responsibility, but they're not going to do it because those very people give them money. All right, let's move on to the next story of the day while we just try not to think about the hopelessness of society. All right, so second story of the day. Boop. All right, so Mindhunter. I saw this trending yesterday, and I was going to tweet about it, and I was like, no, wait, I need this story for the live. So I decided to share my thoughts today. So I think we've all known for quite some time that they weren't going to make Mindhunter Season 3, but yet yesterday Ridley Scott in an interview said, yes, that's true, we're not going to do it. And the internet was sad. But here's the problem. So Mindhunter is a very expensive show to make. I mean, look how gorgeous it is. It's very atmospheric. It's very David Fincher. So it's very expensive. So the fact that nobody watches it kind of hurts the fact that it's, about it getting renewed. Now there's another problem, because some people were like, so what if it's expensive? I like it. Well, here's the other problem. Even though that Mindhunter is such an incredible show, you might have noticed that it never really got any awards nominations, which I think is really sad and kind of surprising considering what a good show it was. So the fact that you have the combination of not enough people watching it and not enough awards, there's just really no incentive for Netflix to continue with it. That's right, David, justice for Mindhunter. I do wonder if its critique of single men usually being serial killers was maybe part of the reason that it didn't catch on, Because, I don't know. I thought that was fascinating, and it's like, you can't argue with the facts, right? That one of the interesting things about Mindhunter is that they started to talk about the profile of serial killers, and that they very often were men who had abusive relationships with a woman in their life when they were a child, usually their mother. And they were therefore very isolated and went on to, become murderers. It was fascinating. It was absolutely fascinating. But I think, I think the Mindhunter slipping through the cracks like that really speaks to one of the problems with streaming these days. And that's that a lot of services don't advertise, particularly Netflix. They don't advertise their product. And they have to pick and choose what kind of shows they're going to promote for awards. And Mindhunter never really got a fair shake. I don't think it was ever really promoted as a show to viewers, and I don't think it ever really ran an awards campaign. So that's kind of sad. It had an amazing cast. Jonathan Groff, I was so happy to see him get that role. There's a big conversation about whether LGBT actors should be out in Hollywood. And whether or not it affects the roles that they can get. And I have mixed feelings about Murray Bartlett, who I think is an incredibly talented actor who is out, who actually co-starred with Jonathan Groff on a fantastic show called Looking that used to air on HBO. But I think that I'm only seeing Murray Bartlett get other LGBT roles. And Jonathan Groff, for the most part, has found himself in a similar situation. And I liked that on Mindhunter, he was just hired as an actor and was able to do a wonderful job. Hey, Dorian. So I would like to see more of that happening. I would like actors to be able to live their truth and have that not affect the roles that they can be considered for. That's a concern of mine in the industry right now. Luke Evans was very vocal about, the fact that he felt he didn't have to be closeted in the UK. And then when he came to Hollywood, he unfortunately, I guess, felt that he had to. And he was not as out as he was in the UK, in Europe. Thanks, Dorian. So anyway, not only was Jonathan Groff really wonderful on the show, but Holt McCallany, he was incredible as his partner. That was like the only major role Holt McCallany ever got. Anna Torv was the third member there. She's, of course, on The Last of Us. She plays Tess, which was amazing. And then also, you had this guy who played the murderer here, Cameron Britton, as Ed Kemper, who was kind of like the main serial killer that they talked to. And he was phenomenal on the show. So a lot of really good talent there. And so it's a shame also that this didn't help their careers more. And I think, unfortunately, when you're in a show like this that doesn't get any traction, sometimes Hollywood will blame the talent and say, oh, well, you can't get any. I mean, look, Mindhunter was such a good show. What was the problem? It had Ridley Scott. It was really well written. It was so cool. It was really high production values. Maybe it was the cast. And that's really bad for an actor. So I feel bad for this cast. I'm so glad that Anna Torv got The Last of Us, and I hope that Jonathan Groff was in, he was in Hamilton, that's right, just Josh, and Jonathan Groff also was in Knock at the Cabin, but I didn't think, he didn't have as good a role as his co-star, and I didn't think that movie was very good. So I hope that Jonathan Groff continues to get work. He's just phenomenal. But yeah, if you haven't watched Mindhunter, you might be like, why should I? It's canceled. Well, the first 2 seasons were amazing. That's right. Jonathan Groff also, of course, is the voice of Hans in Frozen. His name's Hans, right? I forget. No, Kristoff. Kristoff. But, that can just show you how important he is to that franchise. But hey, he's still getting Frozen money. But yeah, so I would really, really, really recommend that you watch Mindhunter. It's an incredible true crime show, and there are 2 seasons of it, and they were both excellent. It was really good, so I really loved it. All right, so any questions about Mindhunter? Wade says Raised by Wolves was as mad as it was Raised by Wolves was also that was Ridley Scott. This was David Fincher. Raised by Wolves, I thought season 2 really kind of fell apart at the end, and I think that's one of the reasons it didn't get renewed, as well as being incredibly expensive. But Mindhunter, I felt, never went off the rails. Mindhunter stayed on the rails and just was, unfortunately. That's right, Jonathan Groff was in the new Matrix, and that was horrible. I mean, it's not his fault. He did a great job. I really want Jonathan Groff to keep going really well. Jico says, is Mindhunter a similar vibe as Blackbird? Very much so, although it's even darker. Hey, David. Luna says, couldn't Mindhunter be picked up by another network? But I don't know if it would, because again, it doesn't have strong viewership, and it didn't get any awards nominations, and it's very expensive. So I'm not quite sure what would be the point of picking it up. It's not like you'd be tapping into a really big audience. The only thing I could see is maybe they would pick it up and recast it, and I think Mindhunter fans would be furious. Bruce Wayne says, from your knowledge of Hollywood, Grace, why do you think the industry is still so averse to supporting LGBT actors, especially in 2023? I don't think they are. I think you're seeing a lot of opportunity for LGBT actors, but I think it's still a learning curve, and I think, it's all about finding the right roles, and I think that's really, really important, and I think you're still not there. I think they're going to get the hang of this. Unfortunately, they're learning on a very public stage. But they'll get there. I'm confident that they'll get there, but it's just going to take a little bit of time. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of the decisions that are being made that are too emotional, and I think they're too close to it. I think if they step back and were more analytical and business-minded, they would make stronger positions that would actually help the LGBT community in terms of representation. So it's frustrating to see that happening. Like when you think about a movie like For Birds of Prey, which I think was obviously had its the right motivations, but actually undermined that kind of representation. So it'll get there. Trisha says, off topic, but watching while on a 180-minute line for Ride of the Resistance. Oh, Trisha, you're at Disney World! It's so crowded right now. Yeah, in February. That's so weird. I think you're coming off of still President's Day weekend, but I can't believe it's crowded today. I guess people stayed for a couple more days. That's a really long line, Trisha. I hear the ride is worth it, but I'm sorry that you're stuck on such a big line. Hey, Jason, if they kept going, the BTK storyline they were setting up would have been amazing. That's true. I feel bad they didn't get more awards nominations. I think that would have been better. What's wrong with Jonathan Groff supporting Lea Michele? I mean, come on, they came up together on that what's the Broadway show? Awakenings or something. Hey, writer boy, do you think Hollywood is just not creating the right roles for LGBT actors, actresses. Yeah, I think that it's important that they be characters first, and I think that's really crucial. And I think they'll get Spring Awakening. That's what it was. They'll get there. But I think right now a lot of the LGBT roles are too tokeny. They're too comedic based, and they're not just fully fleshed out characters. But they'll get there. They'll get there. I hope they don't but the more damage they do, the more they slow that progress down, which is too bad. All right, so that's the second story of the day. Then the third story of the day, that's right, boom, baby, we're talking about Eurovision. And I wish that Eurovision was more advertised and aired on a better network here. Like, you talk about streaming and online services, why doesn't someone in the United States try to air Eurovision? I think, Eurovision's really catching on, and I'd be kind of into watching it. Especially, I loved that movie, that Netflix movie, Eurovision, with Rachel McAdams and Will Ferrell. And Will Ferrell made that movie because he loved Eurovision himself. I really thought that was great, and it really made me... It's right, Harry. It is Europe's music Super Bowl. All right, I'll do a poll about Eurovision because Andrew asked me to do a poll. I'm glad you guys like the poll so much. How do you feel about Eurovision? We'll do, I live for Eurovision. Then we'll have, I'm into it. Then we'll have, can't watch, don't know, or don't know how. And then we'll do, not into it. All right, there you go, Eurovision. All right, so let's talk about Eurovision. Eurovision last year, the Ukraine won. And so it was supposed to it takes place in the country of last year's winner. But unfortunately, tragically, there's a major war going on in the Ukraine. So they're having it in London instead. But they will have one of the hosts be from the Ukraine. And of course, I'm sure they'll certainly be focusing on that tragic situation and celebrating the Ukraine. So it's taking place in London. This actually is in May. But the big news today is that Hannah Waddingham, who plays Rebecca on Ted Lasso, which is about to start its season 3, is going to be hosting. Oh, Liverpool. Sorry, Liverpool, not London. So that's incredible. That's an amazing opportunity for her. She actually comes from the theater, musical theater. She is a very good singer. And so I think that she is a fantastic personality to host this. I think this just goes to show the Ted Lasso effect. That she would get this gig. I mean, that's really cool for her to get this. I mean, they could have picked a lot of people and she got it. And so I'm so happy that she did. And this is also great advertising for Ted Lasso. So I think that's really, really cool. So Graham Norton, of course, will come back for the finale. He so famously offers commentary, but she will be hosting throughout. I think it's 3 major performances. But that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. ABBA. When I was covering the Eurovision movie, I found out that ABBA actually was discovered in Eurovision. So it's just so famous. Oh, Eurovision's on Peacock? Thank you, Stephen. They got to promote that more. I would really be into watching that. I think they should make it a bigger deal. Although right now, not into it is winning the poll. So I guess maybe not. But I think maybe if they pushed it harder, people would care. I mean, it's a great competition. It's wonderful. It's really cool. If you watch the Eurovision movie, you would be more into it. So let's see how many votes that we have. Oh, not quite 1,000 yet. We'll give it another minute. Does anyone have any questions about this? Oh, Celine Dion also participated in Eurovision, David? Did she participate as a host or a contestant? Jason is a fan of Graham Norton. I like Graham Norton too. I think he's very talented. I've never watched Eurovision, Justy. I've never seen it. Sean's never even heard of Eurovision. You gotta watch the Eurovision movies on Netflix. You can watch it no extra cost. I don't know if they're making a Eurovision 2. I don't think so. I wish they would. Wasn't the song nominated for an Oscar? I mean, it was amazing. Oh, we have American Idol, says Epic Echo. That's a good point. But American Idol isn't nearly as fun as Eurovision. Eurovision is really fun, although the Dark Savior is not into it. All right, so let me end the poll, and then we'll go move on to the Q&A. Hold on. All right, 36% of you are not into it. 23% don't know how to watch it. They're like, I want to be a part of this party, but I don't know where it is. 22% are into it, but only 17% live for Eurovision. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's pretty low. No wonder you can't get on a better service than Peacock. All right. Hey, Adam Riley. All right. So that's the 3 stories of the day. Time for the Q&A, baby. You can ask me anything you want. It's 4:09. You can ask me anything you'd like until we'll just do 4:20. Let's see here. Warlock says, I was never into American Idol or The Voice either. Me neither. I wasn't into those either. I'm not into singing competitions, but I like the pageantry. You know, there's a Miss Universe or Miss America, I guess Miss Universe kind of situation there, element to Eurovision that really appeals to me. Sean Turner says, Grace, did you see the 6 nominations that the Batman got at Critics' Choice? Well, the Critics' Choice Super Awards, not the regular Critics' Choice Awards. Critics' Choice Super Awards are decided by committees, I'm a Critics' Choice member. Not all Critics' Choice members get to weigh in on those. But I was happy to see the boys get some love. But I like to see these things, I certainly understand having like awards that are, geared towards genre material. But I'd like to see this stuff getting the credit it's due in the actual Oscars and the actual Golden Globes and the actual Emmys. That would be my preference. Chris Bliss, welcome back. Do you have Mickey ears on in your photo? Oh, no, I don't know. I'm not sure. Steven says, Eurovision is kind of like real life Pitch Perfect. That's funny. Hey, Jamie, welcome back. Sahar, I don't know a Loki premiere date. As I tweeted recently, I just heard that Secret Invasion probably is coming out in May. So I would imagine Loki would be after that, which is pretty freaking far away. Hey, Scanjet, thanks for joining. The Dark Savior says, to be fair to Walt Disney's son-in-law, he tried to expand and evolve the Disney company, but was held back by CEO E. Gordon Walker. That's true, but, Walt, you got to know how to navigate those situations. That one moody guy says, hey, Grace, how was Knock at the Cabin? I'm excited to see Jonathan Groff in that film after the Mindhunter news. I did not care for Knock at the Cabin. I thought it was not good at all, even though I thought that the acting was very good. I thought all the actors did a nice job. Matt says, Grace, do you know if Bruce Wayne will make an appearance in Joker 2, and will he be older? I have not heard about that. I don't even know if I would tell you if I did, because I don't want to ruin Joker. Again, I'm trying really hard. I think you got to be really, really careful. You got to be really careful. Kledgy says, how do you feel that episodes 7, 8, 9 have leaked for The Last of Us? I think that's horrible. They shouldn't have leaked. And I'm not quite sure what change you're talking about on episode 8. Reed Reese says, have you heard about the new Harry Potter reboot potential? What I heard is that they really want to do a Harry Potter where they bring back the original cast and do like an older version of Harry Potter, like you've seen a rumor. But, some rumors have tried to say that it's definitely happening. I heard that that's what Warner Brothers Discovery would like to do, but J.K. Rowling has to sign off on it, and right now she's reluctant to. So that's where they are right now. It's a glimmer in Warner Brothers Discovery's eye, but J.K. Rowling ain't feeling it. Brett says, Grace, have you ever seen a movie in 4DX? I have not, but it sounds fun. Although I think it would be weird to eat snacks in that way. And do you think Bassett has a bigger chance winning after... I don't know. Poor Ariana DeBose. I did look into her poor rap situation. I felt bad for her. She went for it. I don't think people were being kind to her. I hope she goes. You got to be able to take the heat if you want to be a public figure. And so I'm sorry that she deleted her social media. I hope she goes back. Because it happens, and there was a lot of love for her too. And it's just. You can't let yourself get bullied off of social media. It's tough out here. But why should Ariana DeBose not be part of the conversation? She should be. I think it wasn't that bad. But of course, I'm sympathetic to how she probably is feeling emotionally. That's when you just have someone take your phone away from you instead of deleting your social media account. But I don't think it's going to influence voters. Hey, Edwin, you're here. You got it. Better late than never. Justin says, have you ever read the book Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand? No, I have not. I have not. I don't think I would like that, so that's why I haven't read it. I'm not into fiction. I like reading stuff about real life, like true crime and history and stuff like that. That interests me more. I like comic books, which of course are fictional and stuff like that, but I don't like reading long form fiction. Sahad Khan says, hey Grace, any tea or theory on Affleck's DCU movie? He doesn't have a DCU movie. So there's no tea on that. He's in The Flash and that's it. Hey Gary Smith. Let's see here. Allison says, what's your favorite movie soundtrack? Oh, that's tough. I like The Greatest Showman a lot. I like a lot of soundtracks. I used to have a pretty good soundtrack collection. But I think right off the top of my head, I would pick The Greatest Showman. Francis says, honestly, the only way I'd watch a Harry Potter movie again would be a continuation of the original cast. Well, I think Marvel knows that. So they're trying to do it. Anthony says, any truth behind the I Know What You Did Last Summer sequel with the original cast? I haven't heard about that. But I mean, to be fair, I haven't looked into it either. Let's see here. Dreams Comic says, hey Grace, in the Battinson verse, who would you feel would make a good Ivy and Harley for Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman? I haven't thought about who would be a good Ivy, but I agree with everybody that Anya Taylor-Joy would fit into that world perfectly. Writer Boy says, could use your advice. I'm getting closer to finishing my novel. Oh, congratulations. Do you think it's a smart move to market on YouTube? What's the best way to spread the word and advertise? I'm super shy. You help with my confidence. Well, first of all, you're aptly named, Writer Boy. And I think finishing a novel is incredible. Congratulations. That's really great. I think the best thing that you can do is try to get people to review it. People like writers, people who review books. I don't review books. But try and see if you can get sites to review it. I think Goodreads, right? See if you can get it on Goodreads. I think it's hard to it's hard to advertise your own work, especially if you're self-published. I'm not sure if you're self-published or not, but that's an uphill battle. But hopefully the work will speak for itself. And I think, just keep going. Very rarely is someone's first book like their breakout book. So see what the feedback is. And also, if it gets good reviews, maybe you could get a publisher to pick it up. So try and think about it in that regard. Let's see here. Baz80 says, thoughts on the South Park Meghan and Harry episode? No comment. I ain't touching that. Let's see here. Let's see. Nikita says, did you hear about the Michael Jordan film? Just saw a trailer, but I didn't know. Are you talking about the Nike Air one? That I think looks really great. I hope that Michael Jordan is in it more than he is in the trailer, but I think it's going to be a really great movie. I love business stories, as you know. Benny D says, have you watched Sharper on Apple TV? It's really good if you like Knives Out. Oh, really? I had a friend who watched it the other day and actually disliked it. But I'm glad that you liked it. I'm also excited about that Keira Knightley Boston Strangler movie that they just advertised yesterday. I have a screener for that. I might watch that this evening. Let's see here. Trisha, I'm sorry I missed your super chat. Where'd it go? Did I, Trisha? Oh, here we go. I missed a few. Hold on, I'm going back here. Dancing Doug 60 says, Grace, do you think James Gunn could cast Emma Furman or Betty Gilpin? That's some interesting choices, Dancing Dog 60. Maybe. I don't know why he would cast Emma Furman, but maybe Betty Gilpin. I think her time might have passed. Paul Porkchop says, the blue glasses worked. No more headaches. Oh, that's fantastic. Thanks for the follow-up. I'm so happy. Tricia says, why is everybody saying Aquaman 2 is awful? Well, there's a rumor going around that people walked out of the test screening. That is extremely unusual, to the point that I'm not even sure if I believe it. Although some of the people who said it are pretty reliable. Like, it's a free movie, and they ask you for your feedback when it's done. So do you know how much you have to hate it to walk out? And I have a very hard time believing that James Wan would make such a bad movie, because I have so much faith in him as a director. So let's just see. I think there's a lot of hate out right now. So I think I'm trying to be really responsible. So I'm not willing to condemn a movie before I see it. We haven't even seen a trailer for the movie. Let's see here. Danny says, I would love a podcast version for my subway commute to New York City. Thoughts? A podcast of this? Is that what you're talking about, Danny? Well, you could, if you have, you can download these videos, like if you're on, what is it, the paid YouTube, right? And then you could still play this. Jason says, if Congress decides to break up the tech companies, how long do you think it's going to be before they come after Disney and the like? They'll never do that. I'll never do any of that, I'm sure. Let's see here. Doom, 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 doom. Let me catch up here. BM, have I ever watched The Big Bang Theory? Have I? I love The Big Bang Theory. I watched it when it was on, and I rewatched it during the pandemic. Great show. Nova Star says, what do you think of Jason Momoa as The Thing and Jodie Comer as Mystique with her range with... I told you, Jodie, I'll just tell you. I heard Jodie Comer is taking over Blade Runner, so she's busy. And I don't want Jason Momoa as The Thing. I think that's not... I would not be a fan of that. Devin says, I got the super chats there, I think. Devin, did I miss yours? I think I might have just answered it, right? Rob Wall, Invincible Season 2 is coming. They promised this year. Marcus says, what's your opinion about Meryl Streep? That's an interesting question, Marcus. Any favorite performance by her? I think they're all fantastic. I think Meryl Streep is obviously an icon for a reason. I think one of my favorite performances of hers, obviously, is The Devil Wears Prada, but I also really liked her as Margaret Thatcher. I thought what she was able to convey going behind her eyes, like she was just thinking, was incredible. I mean, she's just, the nuance that she has as an actress is, I think, really impressive. Future movie actor, where'd that go? Future movie actor says, do you think Jimmy Kimmel will be daring enough to joke about Andrea Riseborough? Ooh, I don't know. Probably not, 'cause she's gonna have so many friends in the audience. Daniel, I will not cover SAG live. Thank you, I'm glad you like my shirt, but I have plans, it's on my notes, to cover the winners on the live stream the day after. Future movie actor says, if certain things aren't financial hits, how drastically will you think James Gunn's DC plans will change? Let's see. Let's see what happens. We don't know what Warner Brothers Discovery is going to do. They might get rid of, they might sell Warner Brothers off to Universal. I wish that he was not, I think that they're putting up too many projects. I think that he wanted to present like a schedule, but I don't think he has a strong enough foundation to have a schedule. So let's see. Sabian says, Grace, I find myself learning so much random things about business in the film industry, and I absolutely love it. Thank you, Sabian. Did you go to college? And if so, what did you study? I studied film, and some of my best classes were producing and film studies, and the summer blockbuster was one of the best classes I ever took. Let's see here. KT and Biscuit says, hi, also almost Diamond member. Have you been to a test screening? I have not, because I go to press screenings. So I've never been to a test screening, KT. But you can sign up for them. I believe now you can sign up for them. I think Warner Brothers, for instance, does have a website where you can sign up to get notified of test screenings. Right now, I wouldn't be allowed to go to a test screening, because test screening, if anybody works in the industry, they're not allowed, especially in the press, they're not allowed to go. Chloe says, do test screenings for movies only happen in cities like New York or Los Angeles? They do not. They happen all over the country, because they really want to get different demographics' opinion. So that usually is around big cities, but I would think Chicago probably has them, Detroit, Atlanta. So, again, you should try signing up for that site. Amandeep says, what do you think about the new Hellboy reboot? Not much. I don't know why everybody thinks I don't know why. I mean, Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy, is really pushing this new movie because I guess, he wants the revenue, because he's the creator. But I don't think Hellboy's so popular that they're like, there cannot be a time when there's no Hellboy movies. They don't need Hellboy. I mean, I think he can take a break. I also think not to give David Harbour another crack at the character is ridiculous, because I thought he was good. David Harbour was not the problem with the Hellboy movie. Gary Smith says, Grace, do you have any Dune tea? I do! They filmed that pilot for the spin-off of the Women of Dune, that cult. They filmed the pilot. They gave everybody a break, but then they extended the break. So I don't know if that means there's problems with the pilot or what, but the Dune world is moving ahead. So that's pretty exciting. Amparo, my Creed 3 review will be on Friday because I'm seeing it tomorrow. Oh, the Ben Gesserit. Thank you, Ben Gesserit. I gotta become more immersed in the Dune mythology, because it's not I don't have it just, I have to think about it. I have to do my research right before I talk about it, because it's just not second nature to me. B, I did see that Evan Peters was originally supposed to be Ethan in White Lotus, Aubrey Plaza's husband, and I think I like who they went with instead. I think that Evan Peters would not have been as strong in that role, actually. And I don't think I don't believe for a second that Theo James would have the upper hand on Evan Peters. I'd be like, Theo James, that guy's going to kill you in your sleep. Hey, Ryan K. Happy Wednesday to you, too. Significant Otter says, what do you think of Regé-Jean Page for Superman? Well, I can see people thinking of him because, of course, he got passed over for that Krypton show. But I don't think he's a good Superman. That's right, Darth. The guy who played Ethan on The White Lotus is married to female Loki, a.k.a. Sophia DiMartino. And I think that's fantastic. And she was actually pregnant with their child filming Loki season 1. Hey, Davey. Keith says, why is HBO Max losing so much content if it's just being rebranded? Great question. Okay, so the reason HBO Max is being dismantled is because they want to take that content, and instead of having it all live in one place, they're trying to create different price point channels, like the free channels that they've come up with, different services, because I think David Zaslav comes from that space with Discovery. So I think that's the situation that they're dealing with. Toby says the actress that was Batgirl in the Batgirl movie has been speaking out. Should she just count her marbles or just move on to her next gig? Well, Toby, I think it's good for her to speak out because she's not getting a next gig. I think what happened to her is really surprising. And, for all the same with the directors, unfortunately. I haven't seen them get anything either. They were really hit hard by that. Really, really hit hard. And it's, I think unfair. There's no way that movie was that bad. I mean, I don't know. Christina Hodson wrote it, so maybe. But come on. I mean, we all saw Black Adam. There's no way. Black Adam and Batgirl tested on the same level. So if they could release Black Adam, they could have released Batgirl, quite frankly. Bucky Barnes says, any tea on the Penguin show? I just know that they're really doing a lot with the Gotham crime families on that show. And I don't think, as of the last casting list that I saw, it's not very comic book heavy. The Gotham show, so it better be good. The Gotham show, the Penguin show is going to really focus on the Falcones and the what's the other family? I can't remember off the top of my head. So the Falcones and then, that other crime family, they're doing all that. But it's really about the Falcones. The Maroni. Thank you, Warlocks. They're really focusing on the Falcones. That's what the Penguin show is about. I missed Super Chats, AJ Jones. I didn't see them. Did they really get skipped? Let me see. Future movie actress says, my degree was in English writing and mass communications. Oh, thank you for sharing. I'm not quite sure what to say to that. The R-Man63 said, Grace, Gal Gadot said she considered quitting acting prior to Wonder Woman. Do you think she will quit since losing this gig? She seems to have lost all of her gigs, but I hope she doesn't quit. I think there's room for Gal Gadot still in Hollywood. That's cool. You're an Amazon test screener, Baz. That's pretty cool. Devin says, my question was, I cast Sophie Turner-Smith as Storm. Who is your fan cast and who would you cast as the first X-Men team? I did a video on that. I would have gone with the second team, the more more international team that they had with Storm and Colossus and Wolverine. I think Sophie Turner-Smith is not a bad choice. Hey, Storm King. Sidhu says, Boys Season 4 or Invincible Season 2 first. I think Boys Season 4, I bet, comes first. Mike Drop says, as an exec, my idea for a 10-episode show release schedule, 3 episodes on Friday and then 4 through 10 the next week. Oh, like a weekly event? I know some people are experimenting with that. Like they did that with the Jessica Biel Candy movie, a miniseries, and then also the upcoming History of the World Part 2 from Mel Brooks is going to do something like that. So I don't really think that works because I think, people feel they missed it, especially if they don't start it on the weekday. So I think you need to give people the week to catch up. Like very few people watch The Last of Us when it drops. I've discovered that. A lot of people watch The Last of Us the 2 to 3 days after. So I don't think that would work, but Mike Drop, I applaud your creativity. Noah Ryan says, do you think there's enough money that Warner Brothers could offer J.K. Rowling to buy her out of Wizarding World, akin to George Lucas and Star Wars? Well, as you might recall, that's my idea. I'd buy her out. And I think there is enough money. I think for sure there is a price. But it's going to be substantial. I think that number would probably have... How much did Lucasfilm sell for? Let me look. Let's see here. $4 billion. But a lot of that was in Disney stock. But Warner Brothers Discovery stock is worthless. Uh-oh. What would I offer J.K. Rowling? Would I even give her $1 billion? Because she's not like Lucasfilm is a whole company. And it has Industrial Light and Magic to some degree. I mean, can I justify? Also, they don't even have $1 billion. Thanks, Abhishek. They don't even have $1 billion at Warner Brothers Discovery. I'm not even sure what her residual checks are. Maybe I'd offer $1 billion. I don't know I don't think Warner Brothers Discovery, I think that's the real answer. Warner Brothers Discovery can't afford to buy her out. They don't have enough money and their stock is too low. So even though that's clearly what I think would be ideal, they can't even afford to do it. Maybe Universal could do it. All right, let's see here. Chico, I haven't heard about them casting Arthur or Merlin for The Sword in the Stone. I haven't heard anything about that. I just know that, as I tweeted, that they're going to start shooting this summer. Lewis, I do not know if the Little Mermaid trailer will definitely be at the Oscars. That was a guess on Monday. What I heard was that the Little Mermaid trailer would come out in time to play in front of Super Mario Brothers on April 7th. Now, it could come out with the Oscars and still play in front of Super Mario, so that would work. But I heard that it could come as late as, coming out to go with Super Mario. But some people pointed out that Aladdin had a trailer with the Oscars, so Little Mermaid could as well. So we'll see. But when I hear it for sure, I will tweet it. Let's see here. Stephen Carey says, any Heartstopper Season 2? No, I have not heard anything about that. Hey, Danny Ramirez, welcome back. Jay King says, have you ever had a fun celebrity encounter? Someone who was really nice. I just ran into Pedro Pascal in New York City, and he was the sweetest. Oh, that's awesome. He seems like he would be really sweet. I told you, Colin Farrell, Jude Law, Hugh Jackman, all wonderful. Let's see here. All right, hold on. Let me do a poll. Should Warner Brothers, let's just do, should J.K. Rowling sell Wizarding World? Yes, for $1 billion plus. Then we'll do yes for $500 million plus. And then we'll do no. She should hold on to it. There you go. Fun vote, fun poll. Hey, Daniel Harity, thank you. Hugo Friesch says, maybe Halle Bailey could sing a tribute song at the Oscars like Billie Eilish did a few years ago. That's not a bad idea, Hugo. But do they want to debut the whole song before the movie? That would probably make me decide not to do that. Captain Marvel says, could they get Marcus and McFeely back for the next 2 Avengers films? Yo, screenwriters? I don't know. They've already hired these writers. I don't know. They'd have to fire them, which I would do. But I don't know if Disney's going to do that. I think Kevin Feige should stop being friends with these people because I think it makes it hard for him to make these tough calls. Al watches, I'm currently watching The OC and wanted to know what late 90s, early 2000s teen angst show was your favorite. That's hilarious. I don't even remember. I think I watched some episodes of The OC. Let's see here. David says, did you see that HBO will now have House of the Dragon, The Last of Us, Succession Season 4, and White Lotus Season 2 all up for the drama category at the Emmys? That's true. They have an embarrassment of riches, and it'll be interesting to see which shows they decide to push, because it's expensive to run an awards campaign. But yet all of those are very strong contenders. I guess they're just going to have to find the money somewhere. But they can't all get nominated. I think it's very unlikely. So it's going to be tough for them. Some of those shows are going to fall through. Michael says, I don't think we should give JK more money for the franchise that she could spend on making life harder for trans women. That's really an unfortunate situation, Miguel, and I agree that it really is sad, but she created Harry Potter, and there's nothing that you can do about it. She will continue to make money off of it, and that's just the way it is. All right, let's see what the vote is. Okay, and then we'll, it's 2:35. Oh my goodness, so I'll do shout outs. So 36%, only 29% of you feel she should not sell it. So that's, I would have thought it would be even less, so that's interesting. But about 70% of you feel she should sell it. And although some of you feel that it's worth a substantial amount. That's amazing. My pleasure, Miguel, and I totally understand where you're coming from. I think that it's very unfortunate. I think J.K. Rowling insists that she has a nuanced take, but I don't think that she does. Christian says, Shrek 5 update. I know they're working on it. I know it's coming, for sure. Thanks, Carter B. All right, everybody, time for shout-outs. Shout-out time. Econa Stone says she won't sell because she likes making jokes about. Yeah, that was a really bad. I saw that comment that she made, J.K. Rowling made, about how someone said, how can you live with yourself after all the horrible things you've said? And she said the money helps. And I mean, I think comments like that don't help J.K. Rowling. That was a really tone-deaf thing to say. Cody says, hey, Grace, just wanted to say hey. Hi, Cody. All right. Shout out time. Matt Tudor says, shout out, shout out. Let's see here. Voice Inject is ordering a pizza in Toronto. While Jico is washing his doll's hair in the afternoon. That's great. I know you make a lot of videos about that stuff, Jico. Amit says J.K. Rowling isn't helping J.K. Rowling. That's true. Frosty Salt is watching Babylon. Oh, I hope you're enjoying it. Nathan Naker is eating chicken burgers while catching up on the stream. Ulk says, just getting some Five Guys after the premiere of The Sun in Paris. Ulk, what a great evening. I have to tell you, when I got out of Megan, you're like, you don't want the party to stop. So I'm glad that after watching The Sun in Paris, you went out and treated yourself to some Five Guys. That's awesome. What a great evening. Paris is such a beautiful city. Noah Ryan says, here in snow-dusted Seattle, happy to finally catch and participate in a live. I'm usually at work. I'm glad you made it too, Noah. Silver Scale is about to have some lunch in San Diego, while Dane is eating ramen as I'm powering through the end of my workday. Let's see here. Caleb Sandorf is studying for an art history test at university. Tess is feeding her cats in Brisbane, Australia. Thanks for the pronunciation guide there, Tess. iHeart Movies is about to watch Shadow and Bone Season 1. You know what I'm about to watch soon, iHeart Movies? Shadow and Bone Season 2. I got my screeners the other day. I also got Perry Mason screeners. Let's see here. Chris Hampton says, getting ready for an outside jog since it's so nice and sunny. Oh, that's awesome. Although someone scared me the other day about global warming, pointing out how it used to snow like 3 times a year in the Northeast, and now it looks like it's not even going to snow once this year, and that made me sad. Let's see here. Rashad is eating taquitos, about to go file my taxes, and then head to a co-worker's baby shower. Oh, wow, what a great day. You're having a good day, Rashad. I hope you're having you're in Vegas, right? Vegas is awesome, too. Rob Wall says, I'm rewatching Mindhunter to get it renewed like Manifest. Oh, that's great. I don't think that's going to work, Rob Wall, but I hope you're enjoying it. Matt says, thoughts on Cocaine Bear. You'll see my review tomorrow, but it's really good. Let's see here. Chloe Clark says, just signed up for the Warner Brothers movie screener site. Chloe, good for you for taking action and getting on there. You heard about it, you found out about it, you looked it up, and you signed up. You'll have to let us know what movie. Well, you can't. I don't want you to get in trouble, but just let us know if you get invited to a movie. Christian is watching Spielberg's Minority Report. You know, that's actually a pretty solid movie. It holds up. It's a good stream. J. King is making chili from scratch for the first time. That's tough. That's really hard to do. I've done it too. Good luck. I hope it goes well. Joseph Dennis says, first live stream as a member. Hooray! Watching from St. John's, Newfoundland. Oh, that's awesome. Shahar says, just realized I'm a month away from my 8-day cruise. Oh, that's so cool. Time to do some Shein shopping. Oh, that's awesome. Although, some people pointed out to me that Shein has a little bit of a situation with toxicity in their clothing. So, of course, everybody should make their own decision, but you might want to Google that before you purchase from them. It certainly made me second guess some of the clothing that I have. And I don't want to say anything really, but I also would feel guilty if I created a situation for any of you. Little Baby Pizza says, packing orders in my office and watching you. Oh, that's awesome. I'm sure no matter what happens, Sahar, you'll look fabulous on your cruise. Chris Diaz says, about to sit down to a nice sushi dinner in Toronto. Ooh, I like sushi. You're making me want some sushi. I would like some sushi. Maybe I'll get sushi tomorrow. Let's see here. Keith says, having some tea and maple cookies in Canada. I can't think of a more perfect Canadian snack. Reese Reed is eating pizza, pizza, pizza. I like the pizza emoji there. You made me want pizza. Let's see here. King David says, hey, I'm from Miami. It's my birthday, and I can spend it with all of you. Oh, that's great, King David. I'm glad you decided to spend part of your birthday with us. That's always very special. Happy birthday. The Quasar is watching Abbott Elementary in Portland, Oregon, while Max Rollo says, in the Derby, UK, watching you and putting the washing away and making the bed. I like to procrastinate too, I must admit. Oh, look, Stella Jack, that's so kind of you to wish a happy birthday. You too, Matt. Oh, look, everybody wishing King David a happy birthday. You guys are so sweet. You're the sweetest. Lisa says, Grace, can you say hi to my coworker, Max? We're the only ones in the office on this snowy day. Well, first off, Lisa, you and Max are champs. You came into work. I hope the rest of your coworkers appreciate that. I hope you're making it fun. It could be kind of fun to be just alone in the office. I've had situations like that. I hope they have good snacks for you to raid. So, hi, Max. Thanks for watching the stream with Lisa. Matt says, snowy Michigan. Well, apparently it's just not snowing in the Northeast. I like snow. I mean, it's only nice for like a couple of hours here in New York City, but it's nice. It's real nice for those few hours. Rodney Dollar says, hey, Grace, just watching you live. Still remember you from your watching reviews days. What do you mean? You mean like when we would do watch-alongs? Alwatch says, sorry, I know you're doing the shout-outs, but curious if you're going to review Yellow tomorrow. What's Yellow? I don't know what you're talking about. AJ says, anything below 70 is cold. That's funny. Lisa, my pleasure. Jake Eric McDermott says, Grace, I might be getting a tooth taken out tomorrow. Can you wish me well? I'm scared we don't get lots of pain drugs in the UK. Well, I don't think they're going to go all like Little Shop of Horrors on you, Jake, but I'm sure they're going to give you something. If they don't give you anything, Jake, you should leave. Obviously, I'm sure you're going to a good dentist, but I would be like really suspicious of that. But I think you'll do great. I think you'll do great. You don't want, teeth are serious. You got to take care of your teeth. So we'll be with you, Jake, tomorrow, and be sure to update us on how it goes. Hey, Movie Turtle. What's Yellow Submarine? I don't even know what that is. Jamie Isaac says, I just got back from the beach. I'm sunburned. Enjoying the carnival holidays in Panama. That's awesome. I never go out in the sun because I burn very easily. So I think I've gotten sunburned just a few times in my life. Let's see here. Just a few more. Fatine, there will be a live on Friday, not tomorrow. The next live will be on Friday. And there will definitely be a live on Friday because I promised you 3 a week. And so this is only the second. So I got to do it on Friday. I will. Even if it has to be an Ask Me Anything. Gary says, Grace, have you ever been to... we're really slow on the news. Like, cast some stuff already. Although casting, a lot of times, would get its own video. It would have to be a small role for me just to cover it in the live. I've never been to Scotland, although I'd like to. I have a friend who went to Ireland and said it was their favorite time ever. Little Baby Pizza says, what time on Friday? That's a great name. Your name, Little Baby Pizza? That's a great name. Friday, it will be early because 6 o'clock is the watch along. So and I want to have dinner before the watch along. So, and I have to put my Creed review up. So I'm not sure. It'll be earlier though. It'll be before Scream. So maybe 4 o'clock or 3:30. I'll try and really work hard to maybe I'll do a morning stream. Let me ask what time you'd like to stream. One last poll and then I gotta go. When should we have Friday's live stream? So we can do a morning stream. That could be interesting. We could do Friday at, what's a good time? 11 a.m. EST. And then, let's play around with this. Friday, 9 a.m. Friday at 11 a.m. EST. Give or take. You know how I am. Or then Friday at 3 p.m. EST. All right, there you go. You can vote. Using the poll for good. These are Eastern Standard Times. Wait, I have something on Friday. Does this work with it? Yes, it's fine. I was like, wait a minute. All right. Friday at 3 p.m. is winning. You guys want the afternoon stream? Afternoon stream. Denzel, you're making rugs in Puerto Rico? That's awesome. What a cool thing to do. Send me a picture, please. Lisa says, my work schedule is full on Friday, so 3 p.m. would be great. All right, it looks like 3 p.m. is winning. All right. Give it another minute. Wade's having fish and chips on a Friday at the time that I choose. That's funny, Wade. Heather says, I work at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What's it, AA? Oh, is that Alcoholics Anonymous, Heather? Yeah, nobody wants the morning stream. Sorry, Europe. Denzel says that he designs and makes the rugs. That's really cool. All right, let me end the poll. You had your chance to vote. Here it comes. And it was an easy win for Friday at 3 p.m. All right, so 3 p.m., everybody. I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you then. All right. And, of course, videos tomorrow that will definitely go up. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.